Today, we are going to have Victoria Boss do a book review on Death Note. Take one.
Okay, so Death Note is basically about a guy named Light Yagami, and he's this high school kid. He's like in his, I think it was last year of high school, and he is the son of a police chief. So he sees like all these criminals that were obviously the criminals not go to jail, and he gets very angry about it, and he thinks that all the people in the world, not all the people, but all the criminals in the world are trash. And then at the same time, there's a Shinigami, or a death god named Ryuk, who is in the Shinigami world, and they look down on Earth and they write down names of people who are going to die. And Ryuk was getting really, really bored because the Shinigami world is all dust and bones, and all they do is gamble. So he decided to drop his notebook called Death Note into the human world. It just so happened that Light picked it up, and he started killing a bunch of criminals with it. And Ryuk came and he explained that because he was the one that picked up the Death Note and he was using it, that Ryuk had to follow him around until Light died. And so Light was like, okay. So then everyone's starting to get suspicious because with the Death Note, you write someone's name in it, and if you just write their name in it, then they will die within 40 seconds of their name being written in the Death Note from heart attack. The only other way that they'll die a different way if you write down the cause of death within I think it was about 3 minutes. But you couldn't use someone's nickname, and you had to have the person's face in your mind while you were writing down their name so that people with the same name wouldn't die. So Light was just writing down names. He wasn't specifying a cause of death. So all these criminals were dying of a heart attack. And the police were like, what's going on? So there was this very talented detective. There was this very talented detective named L, who no one had ever seen before, and no one knew his real name. And L only got involved on cases that had a lot of kills and that he was interested in. And so everyone asked L for help because nobody, not in any country, knew what was going on. And L was like, okay, I'm going to help. I'm already working on it, actually. And he narrowed it down. He said, well, based on all this stuff, we can conclude that the killer is living in Japan. And they were like, that's awesome. So Elle started, trying to find out who was killing all these people. And meanwhile, everyone, was seeing these news reports, another mysterious death. And they were, thinking how it must be a God's power, kind of, and they started to they started to call the person that was killing everyone Kira, because they lived in Japan, and Kira is the equivalent, it sounds kind of like killer in English, so they started calling him Kira, and Light was like, okay, I'm Kira. And he went on with this huge battle with Elle. And his dad was working with Elle because Elle wanted to work with the Japanese Task Police Force, I think it was called. And Light's father was the head of the police force, and so he was working with Elle, and like he and like 5 other people, they went and met Elle, and but Elle still didn't what? Keep going? Faster? Okay, well, Elle like showed him his face and everything, and then another person came, and they had a death note too, apparently, and it turned out that it was someone that like was really respectful of Kira, and the person turned out to be a popular actress and model named Misa, and Misa was like this really preppy kind of model girl who had a death note, and she killed a few people, and then she teamed up with Light, and they started killing people. And Misa had these things, had the Shinigami eyes, which let you see someone's name just by looking at their face. So she could just write down anyone's name from their face. She didn't have to like figure out their name. So he decided that he was going to get her to like look at Elle, but that didn't work. So Misa had a Shinigami following her named Rem, and Rem cared a lot about what happened to Misa as opposed to Ryuk, who really didn't care what happened to Light. He just wanted to watch everything and be amused. And so Misa got captured by the police because they were like, hey, Misa, she could be the other Kira person that has been killing people, because they decided like, hey, they don't need a name, they just kill by seeing someone's face, then it must be another person. So they went and like captured Misa, and they put Light in jail because they had also suspected him. And before this, Light had been working with Elle a little bit. He saw Elle's face, and he decided to try to prove, and Elle had been suspecting him, and he decided to try to prove that he was not guilty, even though he really was, obviously, and by going into jail for like 30 days or so without and being watched by Elle and everything. And so Elle watched Light and Misa for like a month or two, and Light gave up his death note, which means that like he was no longer in possession of it, and he forgot everything he knew about the death note. Misa did the same thing, and she forgot everything she knew about the death note. And then so Light was like, I have no idea why I did this. I'm actually innocent. I have no idea what's going on. So they let him out, and he was handcuffed to Elle for a while. And then Misa got her memory. No, wait. Misa met Rem again, and Light got his memory back, and then Light made Rem kill Elle. So Elle died, which made me really sad because Elle was my favorite character. And then Elle was part of a orphanage thing. He came from an orphanage in Britain, and they took in really talented children who had no home, and they taught them to become the next Elle. And so these 2 people who were supposed to be Elle's successors, their names were Nier and Mello. Well, they had code names because they're all secretive and crap. But they called each other Nier and Mello. And Nier was this really pale kid who wore white pajamas all the time. He had white hair, and he like played with toys, and he was really weird. I didn't like him that much. And then there was Mello, who ate chocolate all the time, and he was super skinny, which was really surprising, and I wish I could be like that. And so Mello really, really hated Nier, so he went off and he was like, I'm going to go find Kira on my own. And Nier was like, okay, I'm going to team up with the FBI, and I'm going to try to find Kira and the Death Note, because by now they knew about the existence of Death Note. And Light was acting as Elle because he didn't want everyone to know that like everyone outside of the task force that was working with L and him to know that L had died. So he was like, okay, I'm going to be the new L, which was perfect for him because then he was like, okay, I get to be L and Kira. No one's ever going to suspect me. But then Nier was like, I think this guy might be Kira. And Mello, he just wanted the Death Note before Nier so that he could like beat him. And I'm a little bit fuzzy about exactly what happened, but Light's dad saw Mello's name and did not write it in the Death Note, and then he died. And then Light, he got a third Death Note, and he gave it to this guy who was completely crazy and was like seriously off his rocker. And Nier, so Mello kidnapped a lady, and then he kidnapped a lady, drove into a building with a truck, and then blew the both of them up. Nier, he ended up catching Light with some sort of fancy trick thing. It was a little confusing for me, but then Light got shot like by some people, and then he ran to some stairs, and then Ryuk was like, and he wrote Light's name in his Death Note, and that's when the series ended. And I was very sad because Mello and L died, and they were two of my more favorite characters. I really liked Ryuk too, but L was totally the bomb. And overall, I think this was a really good manga series. I liked the manga a little bit better than the anime, but they were both very good. So I recommend it for everyone. Well,